Good morning, everyone. Welcome, welcome. I see the numbers are ticking up there. Good to have all of you on here this morning. We're going to get started here in just a minute. I'm going to bring our Facebook Live audience in as well. I know our panelists today are very excited. They have a lot to share with all of you.
Super pumped.
That's right. 1 minute to showtime.
Oh, cool.
Gonna keep rolling up. Hope everyone had a great weekend. I think for all of us, US and Canada, it was a long weekend. It was a 3-day weekend in some cases. Yesterday was a sort of a holiday here.
Yeah. It doesn't feel like Tuesday. It feels like a Monday.
I know, right? It's all
raining
good.
over here too.
That's right. All right. Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to our weekly series, the RE/MAX Business Builder Series. I'm super pumped to have this panel today. They have tons of energy that they just want to get out there for all of you to help you wake up and start your day. My name is Michelle Hoyt. I am Manager of Education and Development at RE/MAX INTEGRA. And I officially welcome all of you from Ontario Atlantic region and from the US, from RE/MAX INTEGRA, as well as all of our friends that join us weekly from the company-owned regions in the US, such as Texas, Florida, California, wherever you're tuning in from. Please feel free to drop in the chat box exactly that, because we want to hear from you. So for those of you that are watching on Zoom right now, what I'd like you to do is take note of the chat box and the Q&A box. Our panelists want to hear from you. They want to engage with you. They're taking some valuable time of their very own to share with you today. So please ask questions. We have a lot that they're going to share, but I will keep an eye on those and make sure that we get most of your questions answered out loud, so for the benefit of all that are involved. For those of you that are on Facebook, welcome. Thanks for joining us. And I'm going to keep an eye on that chat as well. And then we'll see, if there's any questions that come in, I will make sure to address those as best we can. So without delaying any further, there I have the Facebook Live going on my phone in the background. So a little bit of a delay there too. So, all right, well, today's topic is the more you learn, the more you earn. So this is a topic that's near and dear to my heart as an educator for RE/MAX INTEGRA, because you can never stop learning. I'll tell you, I had a session with these two on Friday with Bobby and Tyler, and just within that parameter of time, which was about a half hour, I mean, I learned a lot just from them. So I enjoy that. I'm a lifelong student of learning. I think a lot of you are as well, but sometimes you might get a little off track and not sure how to go about it. I know Bobby and Tyler are going to share a lot that you can all relate to, and maybe some struggles and then even some victories that you've gone through as well. So we're going to go ahead and kick this off. I'm going to go ahead and have the illustrious panel introduce themselves. So we'll start with Bobby. Bobby, please share with the audience here all about you, your background, how you got into real estate, and anything else you want to share, any fun facts or maybe some hidden talents or anything else you want to share.
Well, thank you, Michelle. Thanks for having us. Really excited to be here to speak with everyone. My name is Bobby Bohlen. I'm a realtor at RE/MAX First Choice in Cranston, Rhode Island. Originally, I'm from Port Jeff, New York, a small little town on Long Island on the North Shore. Attended Penn State University and graduated in 2010. While there, I was a member of the varsity soccer team, so I'm a big soccer fan and love playing the sport still to this day. After college, I graduated, got into Wall Street and finance world. I was a foreign exchange broker. I lived in both New York City and London for a number of years. Great experience, but at the time, I just didn't enjoy the career anymore. Just wanted something more fulfilling every day, helping people. And so my wife and I moved back to the United States. We actually ended up here in Rhode Island. She got a job here, and neither of us are from Providence, Rhode Island at all. But my father was in real estate, always enjoyed being around it. So I decided to get my real estate license and move forward in that career. And while at the real estate school, I met Rob Squarelli, my broker, really enthusiastic guy and loved teaching. And after class one day, I just introduced myself and told him, I'd love to work with him when I got my license. He's like, okay, once you pass the test, come to me and we can have an interview. Long story short, I did. Passed the class, spoke to Rob, and here I'm at RE/MAX and haven't looked back since. Absolutely love it. Been here for 3.5 years now and enjoy every single day helping people. And that's what I love about real estate. You help people every day and see their faces when they get an offer accepted or they sell your house and bring families together. It's a lot of fun. So that's a little bit about who I am. And yeah, I'll turn it over to Tyler.
All right, Tyler.
Hey guys, Tyler Dawe. I sell out of Rockwood, Ontario, Canada. Anyways, I shoot a heck of a lot of videos. I'm a little nervous right now. Usually I usually get up and dance around, so I'm not going to do that. But I'm just going to kind of jump right into myself as a real estate career. I started selling in 2009. I was, oh, I got a bit of static there. Can you hear that or no?
A little bit.
Okay, so I started selling in 2009. It's a family-run brokerage for me. We've got my mother, my father, my sister, and then there's a couple other agents in the office. My wife just recently got her real estate license. I'm not sure what that bass sound is, but I've got, I basically run a team separate from my folks, and I have one lead admin, a videographer, a buyer's agent. Sorry about that. A buyer's agent, and then my wife will take on a buyer's agent role as well, and we're currently looking for one more agent. So I've, in terms of, I just think it's important that I tell everybody about my production level and like, you know, who I am. I know we're on this panel, and it's great to share because I love sharing. I wouldn't consider myself a, you know, top. I mean, I'm a good producing agent, but my deal count last year was 53. My deal count to date is 50 with 9 coming soon. And I just don't want to pretend that I have all the answers, but I do have a lot to share in terms of video, social media, and some of the new marketing that's out there. So that's kind of a little bit about me. And I look forward to getting this started.
Awesome, thank you. Tyler, tell us a little bit about your market, the average sales price and anything else you want to share.
Yeah, so I trade in a few different markets. We have Rockwood, has about 6,000 people in it. We have Erin, which is about 4. We have Acton, which is about 10, and then Guelph is the big one, which is about 130,000. So we kind of trade in between those areas, and they're all within a 20-minute drive from me. So I mean, price points from about 600 to $1 million seem to be flying off the shelves. We see things at 1 million to 1.5 will last a little bit longer, but they're still moving quite rapidly. And anything over about 1.5 to 2 seems to be sitting, just because I mean, there's not as many people who can afford those price points in our area. But in terms of my average price point, we'd probably be sitting around between 750 and 80.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. Bobby, tell us a little bit about your market.
Yes, I'm down in Rhode Island, the smallest state in the country. Licensed in Massachusetts as well, but primarily Rhode Island. I do cover the whole state, but I focus on the greater Providence area, which is about roughly half the state's population, including Providence, Cranston, Warwick, and Pawtucket. Our average price here in Rhode Island, we just actually broke a state record, just over 330,000 average median sales price statewide. My average sales price point's around 275, so just a little under Tyler's over there in Canada. But we're seeing the same thing. Our month supply right now in Rhode Island across the board is 2.4, which is really far left, making it a pretty strong seller's market. You know, a 6-month supply is a healthy market balance, so to speak. So we're very low supply, pent up demand with low interest rates. So if you have a house that's priced right, especially in that wheelhouse of 250 to 400, you're seeing a lot of competition with multiple offers above asking price, and it's a competitive time right now to be a buyer, but I'm in the Rhode Island market.
Great. Thank you both for sharing about yourselves and your market. So I do want to wish a very happy belated one day late Thanksgiving to all of our Canadian audience that's watching. Some of you are probably still recovering from that. Also, happy Amazon Prime Day, everyone. So get out there and do some early shopping for the holidays. But there's so much to share with this group. So, you know, Bobby and Tyler are pros at what they do, and doing this type of a discussion is brand new to both of them. So I can't thank you both enough. And I'm so ready for you to just let everyone know what you're doing that's really working for you. So let's talk about when you first got into real estate. Okay, let's go back to year one. And let's talk a little bit about how did you go about learning the business? Did you have a mentor? Did you get help? Did you have to sort of learn as you go? You know, I guess, and if you want to talk about sort of your evolution from that point to now, but let's talk about how you first got started. Let's start with you, Tyler.
Okay, as I said, 2009, I started family business. For me, I come from a smaller office, so in terms of the majority of the agents that were in the office at the time were a little bit older, so they weren't much interested in the growth aspect of it. So it was more maintaining and doing a certain amount of deals per year. So for me, it was a lot about, you know, my father was there. He's a pretty good mentor of mine, but had more old school techniques. So past clients, which is still great for us today. But a lot of his was door knocking, sending out flyers and things like that. But for me, it was just kind of watching everybody and then following their lead and doing it. So that's how I first started. I mean, and I always look at the progression. Like when I first started, I was still taking photos of houses. Like I was a photographer. I know it's a hard thought, but that's what we were doing in 2009, and now like it's just leaps and bounds from what we're doing today. I mean, I'm sure everybody out there can agree with that one.
For sure. Sounds good. Bobby, how about you? What did you do to set out to really learn the business your first year?
Yeah, so my first year, again, I wasn't from Rhode Island, so when I joined the brokerage here with Rob, he was a great mentor. I mean, we had weekly trainings, one-on-one, how to write up a purchase and sales agreement, a listing agreement, buyer appointments, listing appointments. So that really helped me gain the knowledge of understanding the ins and outs of the paperwork, the legality of it. I was on the team when I first started as well, which helped me, you know, ask questions, lean on them for support. Our office here has great support staff. But I really just jumped right in and started calling expireds, for sale by owners. I was doing drive-bys, dropping off letters to people's houses. So I kind of did everything at once and kind of learned what worked, what didn't, what was the best use of my time, what wasn't the best use of my time. And I felt just diving right into it, you kind of learn on the job as well. Same thing with Tyler. I was shooting my own photos at listings, just trying to keep the costs down. But it was kind of fun. You kind of don't know where it's going to take you, and just believe in yourself and just go in there and make it happen. Really, but as I went on, I attended some RE/MAX sessions, which really helped, like Recharge, and started hearing what other agents were doing, and you could really make it your own business. And that's it. I've kind of taken it to another level now from where I started. But that's how I started, just really cold calling a lot, going around different houses and one-on-one trainings with, you know, my broker here.
So cold calling, I'm sure a lot of your peers on here are wondering, or a lot of your peers are terrified of cold calling, let's face it. So did you bring any of your experience from your previous career into that? How did you go about that?
I think so, because in Wall Street, it was a lot of on the phone, talking to clients. So it gave me that confidence of just being on the phone already. But you get rejected a lot cold calling, especially asking, you know, you think you're selling your house again. But you learn, you tinker with the script. I made my own. I looked a lot online at other people's scripts, and then I kind of made it to what felt comfortable for me. And it really, I just told myself, it's just a numbers game, number one. More people are going to say no than yes, but the more you call, the more chances you have. And just be confident, you know, just be confident in yourself, have a script, have a game plan. And this is what I'm going to do today, and execute it. And it started to work. And I don't do it all the time anymore. I still do. I still incorporate it in my business, but was a big part of how I got started and obtained leads, listing leads.
Yeah, sounds good. Tyler, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, no, I was just going to say for first-time agents out there, it's hard because if you don't have a database, it's hard to really follow up and milk that. But, you know, as Bobby was saying too, I think getting yourself out there is probably one of the best things you can do. Like, you know, when I first started, everybody was getting married, so I would go to Stag and Does all the time without fail. If it was there, I would go. And the second thing is, don't be afraid to say you're in sales. A lot of people, like through my coaching program, we have what we call as secret agents, where you're a real estate agent, but if you go to a party and you're almost ashamed to admit it, I think you should just get yourself out there. And if you hear somebody talking about real estate, say, hey, listen, I can help you out with that. Or if you're looking for an agent, we should set up a meeting or go for a coffee. And I think a lot of people are afraid to do that. And just by reaching out and asking that question, I think they would be surprised. And then now with some of the younger guys on socials, it's just free marketing. It's absolutely amazing some of the stuff you can do now.
Fantastic. All right. Well, that's a good segue into the next question. So we'll start with you, Tyler. What real estate speakers or coaches or experts do you follow? Talk to us a little bit about how you've incorporated that into your business, and what have you actually applied from those that you follow and that have actually worked for you?
Can you repeat the question?
So it's a long question, I know.
Okay.
Which real estate speakers and coaches do you follow?
Yeah, no, I'm just giving you a hard time. Okay, so for me, I use Tom Ferry. I've been a coaching member with Tom Ferry for almost 3 years now. I'm going to read off because I did write this out for everybody. Right now, I'm in the process of getting a new coach, just in terms of having more of a team building aspect, because I want to build more of a team. My previous coach named Rob Hannaford, he was absolutely amazing. I'm still friends with him now. You know, changing coaches doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, you lose touch. So I find that great. I find that it was a great introduction to coaching. They knew the Canadian market, so that was a little bit of a misconception because it was an American brand. So I felt that, you know, they kind of got me attitude and willing to work with them. So before, when I looked at coaching, I was kind of like, I looked at it like, oh, geez, everybody's really drinking the Kool-Aid and they're rah, 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 like a big cult or something. But it's true. If you're going to pay the money and invest in yourself and your business, you have to do that, despite what other people in the office might think about you. So for me, I wanted Tom Ferry because I thought they were geared towards more social media, and I wanted to take advantage of video and all the socials. And I find in the last year and a half, I mean, we've really exploded on that with our social media. If you guys want to take a look, it's some great content. We did, like, in the first 6 months of this year, we did 70 videos, something like that. So I just wanted to chat about the in terms of the coaching, like some of the biggest misconceptions about coaching is that once you sign up, you know, your business is going to increase 20 to 40%. You still got to put on the coveralls. You still got to get up in the morning. You still got to do the work. And I find that what coaching brought to me is consistency. I tend to be like scatterbrained. And if you're like me, like most agents, they don't want to do paperwork. They freaking hate paperwork. And it kind of compartmentalizes the whole process for you. And then I can stick to doing stuff that I like to do, like talking and opening my big mouth. And that's how I feel. Just to start off with, am I going too long or no?
Oh, you're fine.
Like, this is the only question I really have filled out. When I first started coaching, because we're talking about growth, right? So you can get most of this stuff online. You can get scripts online. You can watch videos online. What I like about coaching, as I said, is somebody there to hold you in line and hold you accountable. You know, you have to see benefit in the cost. If you don't bother spending the money. And if you're not going to commit to a minimum year, don't even bother doing it. But just to let you know where I was at, I sold real estate in 2009. I started. And then I was just, you know, your basic secret agent, right? I would do 16 to 20 deals a year. I would be happy with that. I would take in 150 to 200 gross. And I was fine with that. So about 3 years ago, I thought, you know what, if I'm gonna be available to my clients 24/7, I want to start making more money, more serious money. And so it was a mixture between making money and giving myself more time. And that's the making money aspect is great because that's what we did within the first few years. Now we're into team growth, where that's giving myself more time. It's actually taking money away from me and giving it to somebody else to actually do the work for me. So that's where I'm at right now. And as I said, so when I first started, the year that I first started, the year before, I was 17 deals. The first year I started coaching, I was at 32. The next year and I was at 53, which is last year. And as I said earlier, this year I'm 50, 9 coming soon. My goal was 80. I think COVID kind of hit a wrench in that, but I feel that we'll probably finish around 70. So there's no question to me that it worked for me, but you guys have to actually try it as opposed to, because I have a lot of agents saying, coaching it's nothing. I mean, whether it's coaching or going to RE/MAX Integra courses that they put on, all of it's a huge benefit. And then I'm going to cut this little bit short, but my absolute favorite part of coaching is the ecosystem, right? So it's similar to what we're doing here today. We're sharing. And, you know, for me, historically, I would be a little more standoffish from other agents because I don't want them to know my secrets. But when you do coaching, everybody's got the same secrets. Everybody's doing the exact same thing. It's just some work better for others, right? Some people still door knock. Some people like the gram. But it's what all works for you. But I find the ecosystem, like some of the guys I met along the way, like we've got a Tom Ferry Instagram group called the Wolf Pack, and it's like, you know, some of the stuff that these guys are doing, and they're like, we're copying each other. Basically, we're copying each other from people in California, Seattle. Bobby, where are you from again? Maine?
Rhode Island.
Rhode Island. So I mean, for me, that's the biggest part. Okay, so we have, and even guys locally, like I have a guy who's become a really good friend of mine, Stephen Kim, and he's helped me out quite a bit. He runs a social media course called Just Start Branding, and that's for guys who are like individual solo agents who are afraid to get on film, and that's to help them use their cell phone to leverage the power of social media. So that's where I'm at, guys. It's helped me keep consistent, but I'm a bit of a scatterbrain. If you guys are, you know, detail oriented, you might be able to do that on your own. It's just for me, it's helped quite a bit.
Awesome. I love everything you said, especially the accountability part. All right, so I see some questions coming in, but we're gonna have Bobby answer this question. So Bobby, talk to us about who you follow, which speakers, who do you admire in the industry, whose webinars do you watch? Share everything with us.
Yeah, so I'm not in a coaching program right now, but what's worked for me is I follow a lot of other realtors around the country, in Canada, the United States, wherever, on social media platforms. I like to pick their brains, see what they're doing, and incorporate it into my own business. So I started in 2017 in March, and later that year there was a RE/MAX Recharge event in Providence, Rhode Island, and that's where I first saw Jesse Peters. Actually, he's out of Winnipeg, and he really was touching on listing videos and incorporating video into your business, and that light bulb went off in my head, and I started incorporating more video into my business, listing videos, and what he did really enlightened me. I listened to Nathan Dart there as well. He was really helpful. Ricky Caruth at Alabama, he's on Instagram as well. He gave me some good ideas with geo leads when it came to calls. So for me, what's worked for myself is following like-minded realtors, successful, creative, and incorporating that into my business. And it's helped. It really has, because you sprinkle a little bit of what other people are doing into your own, and it just gives you a variety of topics. But social media has been huge for the growth and where I follow people and get my ideas. I follow so many realtors over Instagram, my own competitors, other states, countries, doesn't matter, because I think it's like Tyler mentioned, it's just a great way to, like, here he is in Canada, you're in Illinois, Michelle, I'm in Rhode Island, and here we all could all bounce ideas off each other, and that's the power of technology right now.
Absolutely. Well, what Facebook groups do you belong to, Bobby?
Well, I belong to the RE/MAX Referral Network Worldwide. That's pretty cool. I belong to some local Rhode Island ones as well. Community groups around the Providence area. Nextdoor as well. The site Nextdoor, I think, is great. When there's people on there that, I need an electrician or a plumber. It's just a great way to just give referrals, and then people, oh, how did you find this person? Oh, by the way, I'm a realtor, you know, for RE/MAX. Oh, okay. And my brother's looking to sell their house, or my friend's looking to buy. It's just a nice way to just help people, but then, like, you don't want to be a secret agent either. When people ask you, you know, what you do, oh, be proud of being a realtor. You know, I'm a business owner. I'm a real estate business owner. So a lot of local community groups. I'm also a member of the Habitat for Humanity board here in the greater Providence area. So it's another give back to the community that way. And that's helped, build further relationships in my business.
Well, thank you so much, both of you. And I think the key is you both really touched on social media and what an instrument it's been for both of you to learn best practices. It's interesting, you're right, Tyler. There's in the years past, so many realtors were so closed, guarded about what they were doing. They didn't want anyone else to know. It was uber competitive, but it's out there now. And if you follow the right people, as Bobby and Tyler have mentioned, you're going to pick up some really great things that you can apply to your business. So thank you. All right, Tyler, back to you. Actually, I saw a comment about Craig Proctor. Darby mentioned Craig Proctor to you, Tyler, specifically. Is that a trainer in Canada?
Yeah, he is. I've actually signed up for is Darby? Yeah, I've actually signed up for the Craig Proctor emails. I haven't tried the coaching program, but when I looked for a coach, I was like, I'm not the guy that really does the coaching. Like I don't buy in. Like previous to this, I never really bought in. But I did look at Proctor, Richard Robbins, Tom Ferry, Mike Ferry, Brian Buffini. I follow him. He's got some cool motivational stuff. So like I don't limit myself to one person in terms of who I'm listening to on podcasts and who I follow. Because I think they all add value in some aspects. And then if they say something on an episode that resonates with me, then I'll write it down. I mean, I write a whole bunch of stuff down on my notepad. Sometimes it goes into my business plan. Other times I forget about it. But in terms of Proctor, his actually teachings, I don't know exactly that, but I know the guy's phenomenal with marketing. So if that's somebody that resonates with you, Darby, give them a shot. And at least see what they have to offer. All you have to it's usually a year long contract. And if you don't like it, then rotate and switch, and then find somebody that works for you. And I also wanted to touch on something that Bobby said, like about Facebook groups and things like that. Like I think that a lot of people are under leveraging all those community Facebook groups and things like that. I mean, even if you have, like, some people only go on groups if they're like 5,000 or more, but even the smaller ones that are 1,000, like you do a post on there, you can reach 1,000 people. It's stupid not to be able to leverage that and add yourself to these groups and use that for some of your marketing.
For sure, definitely. So we will take more questions, or we'll read more questions in a little bit. We have a lot more interesting things to talk about. So you both touched on this a little bit. What types of learning methods of delivery do you participate in, such as webinars, etc.? And then how often would you say you spend your time on that versus doing other things? So we'll start with you, Bobby.
Yeah, so I really enjoy the RE/MAX University webinars that are put out there every week, and a lot of education. I really don't watch many live. I usually come back later in the day when I'm back home and have like 40 minutes to an hour that I could watch, and I watch them all because I think it's good to just learn as much as you can and get one thing here, two things there, and just continue to incorporate into my business or see how I could evolve and grow. I'm a big fan of the webinars. I do a lot of, like I said, RE/MAX University put out some great stuff, and there's fellow realtors, like-minded individuals who are doing well in their marketplaces. So it's really cool and motivating to see what they're doing. Listen to some podcasts as well. I love the CEO of RE/MAX, his podcast. I got some good ideas from this realtor out in Calgary. I forget his name, but did some really cool video stuff. So starting to follow him now and take some of his stuff, maybe bring it over to Rhode Island here. So just utilizing that has been a big help for me. And I also keep up with a lot of local news, nationally and local. I think it's important to have a knowledge of what's going on around the world and in your own market, because your clients they're not in real estate. They could be a high school teacher, they could be a doctor, they could be a lawyer, or they're all different kinds of professionals. And I think it helps to have those talking points when you are working with them, especially buyers. You're with them a lot. You're talking to them every day via text, on the phone. And I think you want to get to know them as a human being, and just keeping up with different things in the market allows you to have better talking points and build a better relationship.
So the podcast that Bobby's talking about is called Start with a Win. Adam Contos, our CEO of RE/MAX, it does conduct that. It's fantastic. I listen to it in the car. RE/MAX INTEGRA has one also called Now We're Talking Real Estate. So again, that's Now We're Talking Real Estate. So check it out, because a lot of you, meaning in INTEGRA, are featured on those podcasts, also sharing best practices. There's been some great ones on social media, Tyler and Bobby, that I know you both love social media. Bobby, really quick before we go to Tyler, what would you say if you had to estimate your percentage of time on a weekly basis do you dedicate to your own development?
My own development? Probably a couple hours a week. I try, I'd say if I could get at the end of the day, if I get like a webinar or a podcast, like an hour, try to do that a couple times a week, and just just continue to build my business and grow and continue to learn, which I think is so important. Education, like in real estate, for me, I'm trying to, like Tyler as well, trying to build a brand, build a business, make it a career. It's not just about the transactions. It's about building your brand and growing and taking it to another level right now, which is so exciting, and seeing so many other realtors around the country do it, and it's possible. But I think, like you said, Michelle, taking time to learn and educate yourself in the real estate business, seeing what other people are doing, is just as important as going out and doing showings and listings. So I definitely spend a couple hours a week learning and educating myself.
Thank you. Tyler, what types of learning deliveries and platforms do you participate in, and how often?
Well, like, I want to say a lot, but not too many, to be honest with you. So for me, I don't want to keep going back to coaching. I don't want to push it on you, but like, that's what helps me, because we have certain tasks. We have weekly tasks, daily tasks that we do. So for me, what's really helped me, and it's basic, like basic, are scripts. You know what I mean? Someone wants a discount. Someone's talking about using a discount broker, right? Well, you don't want to trust your hard-earned equity in the hands of a discount broker, do you? Like, we want to, like, for me anyways, it's all about scripts. So when somebody has something to say, I'm ready for it. I mean, I love commission objections. Like, I used to hate them, but now when I'm in there for a listing presentation, I'm almost like, did you have any questions? Did you, like, around here we have Purple Bricks or Property Guys or anything like that. I have no problem fielding questions about those guys or anything like that. So for me, training, number one, like, typically 3 days a week, it's myself or another agent in the office that will do scripts. I will, all the stuff this podcast as well. We do watch this podcast, but we have, I like to watch, like Bobby does. I'll watch a lot of people, whether they're like local, whether they're big players, some like people that are doing creative stuff. I really like, because I really like my videos. So like for us, we do some funny stuff in our videos, which we do get leads from. And when you do a nice video, the problem is that the next one has to top it, and then the next one has to top that one. So like for us, I'm always kind of looking at that. I go through every year. I do Marketing Edge with Tom Ferry, Sales Edge with Tom Ferry, and then they do an annual summit, and I do that. I've never been to R4. I really wanted to go. John Dalbiggins, Chris Alexander, they've been like, teasing me about going for years. I've never gone, but that's something that'll be on my bucket list to try out. But I also want, like, if there's anybody out there that's in a different coaching program than me, whether it's Proctor, Buffini, or anything like that, drop a line down here, because if you guys have any recommendations for me, I'd love to be able to go. Like, we could team up and go together, just because I don't want to limit myself to one person, one coach, and one strategy.
Oh, I love all of that. So for just speaking of coaching, the one thing that is available to all of you is a lot of times these top industry coaches offer free webinars through various platforms. So for instance, Inman News, if you don't subscribe to their blog, please do, because you'll always get, I know the last thing you need is more emails, but you will always get invited to all these free industry webinars with agents sharing best practices. Yes, there's approved suppliers and whatnot involved, and they do a little bit of a sales pitch at the end, but the majority of those sessions are definitely your peers in the industry, not always just RE/MAX, but sharing, all of those things. And those are free. And then sometimes they're led by Viral Workman or Tom Ferry.
Oh
or,
yeah, Viral.
Yeah, definitely those. Yep.
Yeah, I've heard good things about Viral as well.
Yeah.
What was that called, Michelle? Just so
So,
everybody.
so it's Inman News, INMAN. So inman.com, please check it out. It's a huge real estate syndication and publication company or conglomerate here in the US, but you should be able to subscribe to their items. They have a huge international presence. And then also RIS Media, which is RIS Media, Real Estate Information Systems, RIS Media, rismedia.com, which also publishes Real Estate Magazine. So they have a lot of free industry webinars. You should definitely take advantage, especially if, like what Tyler and Bobby said, if you're just getting started, you're on a budget, definitely that. So I see a lot of great comments coming in, and a lot of shout outs for R4. Thank you, Anna. Fingers crossed it'll take place next year, but I think right now it's, we'll see what happens with COVID and everything. All right, so speaking of conferences, Bobby, we'll start with you again. What actual conferences or events have you been to, whether it's local, whether it is R4 or something similar? What approach do you take, especially those conferences? And we all deal with this where there's 4 breakout sessions at the exact same time slot. How do you pick and choose which one you want to go to? So share with us your approach to that.
Yeah, so I'm like Tyler. I haven't been to R4 yet and really want to get out there. So fingers crossed with everything going on in the world, we can get there next year. But no, so I, Recharge. I know it's now RMX 2020, which we had up in New England in Worcester back in March pre-COVID. I love going to those conferences, and like you said, there's so many sessions, so many places to be. Which one do you choose? And I always try to. I might not know that much on, to be honest. Like when it was video, I didn't know much about video. I wanted to go learn about that, or whether it's building a team, whether it's personal finance, or I like to go to ones that I don't know much on, just so I could take an idea or two that I could walk away with. That just I learned a little more to help my business. There's so much information too. It gets kind of overwhelming when you go to these conferences. It's like a whole information overload. So I always try to tell myself, I could just take 3, 4, 5 things away from each conference and incorporate that on a daily basis into my own business. If I go to 3 or 4 of those a year, incorporating 3, 4 things each time, you're really going to start to see your business grow. And it's stuff that's realistic. You can implement it. It's not going to take away too much of your time. It can be working on your business, working in your business. But yeah, I try to find topics that I'm not too familiar with, and I'm not afraid to kind of learn and be educated further. I'm not afraid to, if I don't know something, I'll ask questions and to help myself learn more.
Great, thank you. Tyler, how about you?
I'm just responding to Barry right now.
Oh, he's answering questions. I love it.
Okay. Can you please repeat the question?
So, well, you told us you get distracted easily, so we'll allow that.
Totally.
So any conferences that you've been to, whether it's been one at the local board or maybe it's RMX or Recharge in the Ontario Atlantic region, what's your approach when there's all these different breakout sessions going on, and how do you choose which one you go to? I
mean, you're going to have your interest, right? So like if someone's interested in your social media, if someone's interested, like Bobby said, accounting, you do that. I try to, like for me, I'll focus on something that I feel that I can actually take hold of. So if it's accounting, like I want nothing to do with it. If it's socials or videos or something like that, I will. I'm trying to limit myself to just primary listings right now. So for me, I would go to anything that would help benefit that, or any leadership roles and things like that. Like I find, like even motivation for me is huge. Like we talk about podcasts that we listen to. I do a walk with the dogs every morning. I'm always listening to a podcast. I'm just like everybody else out there. Sometimes I wake up and I'm like, ugh, I got to do this all over again. Like you do have this like, like with our coaching program, we have something called the drunk monkey, where you have this like this thing on your back that's always pulling you back, that's saying, no, don't do it. Where, you just like, it's like guys who work out, fitness guys, they're up every morning at 5 a.m. working out. I mean, many of you guys out there are as well, to try to save time. So anyways, for me, a lot of it has to do with motivation. So I would pick some of those motivational speakers as well, just because I'm just like everybody else. I get to a point where I'm really like flatlining, and then I need something to pick me up.
For sure. Well, I like that you're answering questions. So let's just take a quick peek and see what we have out there. So I think you both answered. Lene, I hope I'm saying your name right. Wanted to know about your favorite podcasts. You both talked about that. Any other podcasts, Tyler? I don't think you mentioned any in particular that you listen to.
No, like most of the, yeah, of course, right. When I listen, I have Brian Buffini on there. I listen to a lot of the major coaches for motivation. Like Tom Bilyeu is good for impact theory. I think he was awesome. I've seen him speak. He was like, you get goosebumps. Listen to this guy speak. Of course, everybody talks about Gary Vee, so I'm a big fan that way as well. As I said, like I'll listen to motivational guys, I'll listen to real estate guys, and then other times I just turn it off because there's so much shit out there, that like you have to determine, which ones you need, which ones that work good for you. I find there's a lot of like, there's just so much thrown at you with emails and all that. Just pick and choose one, and don't be worried that you've missed another one, because it's like a house. Your clients lose out on a house. There's always another one. There's always another one coming up. So that would be mine. Just do something. Do one thing.
Right. Sounds good. Well, so speaking of webinars, and we will get to more of these questions. Please keep them coming. I know we're all zoomed out right now. So first of all, thank you all of us for joining us. I know there's over 1,000 registered. There's hundreds of you watching right now. And when it comes to those, you mentioned, Bobby, you go back and you watch your webinars. Talk to us a little bit about what you do with these webinars, and how do you make time for those, and how do you decide if you're going to be able to attend live or watch it later?
Yeah, so usually 10 o'clock in the morning. If I try to save the webinars either early in the morning when I'm up, or late at night when the day is kind of, don't have to worry about clients interrupting, getting text messages, phone calls. So I kind of try to leave webinar time for when it's quiet. I could focus, take an hour of my day just to learn. And like I said, I just go through the list and kind of watch as many as I can on the RE/MAX University site. There's some just great stuff out there, but yeah, I tend to leave it for either first thing in the morning or at the end of the day, just a time to unwind and just no distractions, which I think is a big part of it too. Just leave the phone to the side and just really take that time to focus and listen. And the next day or later that week, just try and take what I learned and maybe try to implement it in a way into my business.
For sure. Would you say you're a morning person or night person? I know
I'm a morning person. I'm a morning person. I love being up early.
Well, that's good.
Liar.
Tyler, how about you?
I try to get up early. I'll try to get my workout in the morning, because if I don't do it, it's not going to happen. Excuse me. But I mean, I like sleep. But I struggle with that. That's something that, like, the alarm goes off and in my head, I'm like, get out of bed, don't get out of bed, get out of bed. Yeah, but I'm trying to get up in the morning because I feel I can be more productive.
For sure. Well, so speaking of all these webinars, I mean, a lot of you probably picked up on this, and during this pandemic, that's all we had for a learning perspective. But if you sign up for a lot of webinars, you'll generally get the recording sent to you anyway, just like those of you that are watching this now after the fact. So I will send anybody that registered for this on Zoom, you will get a copy of this recording. We are putting our content on RE/MAX INTEGRA YouTube channel. So please subscribe to the RE/MAX INTEGRA YouTube channel. You can just jump on there and watch just about anything. We're running the Momentum series right now on Thursdays. All of that content is there, as well as we're going to be uploading it all to RE/MAX University. So please check out RE/MAX University. Always a lot of great new content on there. So let's talk a little bit about technology. And you both talked about social media and how much you love it and what a big role it's played for you. But what are some of the technology apps or tools that you use to improve yourself or your business? So we'll start with you, Tyler.
In terms of technology, we, like, for us, we're basically, we have our tracking with our coaching system. I use a CRM. I use Follow Up Boss for my CRM. So I don't use, I know RE/MAX has, INTEGRA has one. I don't use that. I'm not as familiar with that, just because I'm trying to centralize most of our stuff in one system. In terms of like online leads, a lot of people in our area use a company called Agent Locator. Agent Locator, if you use it right and if you follow up, it's great. The first year we used it, I think it cost $9,600 for the year, and then we grossed 112 from that. So the numbers on that, I would put 50, 100 into it at those numbers because it's worthwhile. There's another company we're looking at right now. We're using a Street Text, and I got that. We have a guy in our office, Adam Bendig. He gave us the idea of using Street Text, which is more for seller leads. So we're trying that as well. But a lot of our stuff is geared around social media. So Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. We're experimenting now with, you have, free home evaluation in 3 easy steps. Everybody sees that. But we're actually putting our own branding on there. And so my name or RE/MAX. So when people sign up for it, they actually know it's a real estate agent and they're not so caught off guard. We don't get as many leads that way, but the leads that come in are higher quality. So that's what I would do. Can I just say, like, out there in terms of people using social media, it does take trial and error with that. So if you spend $150 in a week and you don't get anything, it doesn't mean it's wrong. Just try to change something little on it. Because if you can get one convertible lead for that price, it's well worth it. So
good advice. I like it. Bobby, how about you? What technology is instrumental to your business?
Well, like Tyler mentioned, the CRM's huge, keeping everything organized in one central location. I switched everything over to Booge, which I really like a lot. Like follow-ups are huge, keeping up to date with, a lead from a year ago, 6 months ago. You don't have a CRM, you're going to forget about that person most likely. So agree with Tyler there. Having one central location for everything is huge with the CRM. Facebook, Instagram, of course, YouTube, huge on that. I hired an SEO company. Earlier this year, I just wanted to get to another level with that. So we built our own website. And now we're doing SEO where they write blogs for us every month, different keywords, backlinks, and we're starting to see the fruits of that coming to fruition now with, I think last month, 3 leads off that alone. Like Tyler said, higher quality lead. They're coming to your website. They're asking a question about the blog that you wrote. Home evaluation, Facebook targeted ads have been really important as well. Gathering that information from them. Home values. So a lot of the basic technologies that we have, I've been using. No specific apps per se. For buyer leads, using Zillow still, but the goal, of course, is to be able to have the SEO attracting enough leads where it can wind down to Zillow and have higher quality leads that way directly through the website.
That sounds great. So let's talk a little bit about video, because I'm sure, first of all, that's such a hot topic. And I keep hearing these stats that there's less than 5% of the industry actually doing video, which is just mind-boggling. So you both had to learn video at some point. So I want to hear a little bit more about that. So Tyler, we'll start with you. When it comes to video, how did you first learn video? And what has your evolution been like to today?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still learning video. I really like video. I think that it's like, if you look at the stats, we have it on our listing presentation, right? I mean, if people are 90% more, or there's 90% more chance that they'll retain video versus 10% on text or just a picture. So for me, in terms of learning, I just did it myself, but just like what we were doing, I wouldn't necessarily say it's the coaching program, but I would say it's the people that you meet from there that are actually doing it, and then just copy them, right? That's all I would do. You can copy people in your area. I get people that copy me all the time. I'm not worried about it because I'm willing to work just as hard, right? But I can appreciate it's more of a compliment that someone's taken a page out of your book, but it's not mine to begin with. I just wanted to read something here that I got last night. All right. And this is, if I can find it, shit. All right. Okay. I did write it down, guys.
We believe you.
I'll believe you. Yeah. I got a lead. I got a lead last night from a guy named Michael. Okay. And he says, my wife follows you on Instagram. Nothing but great things to say about you and how hard you work for your clients. Can you please contact us about purchasing a lot, $900,000 max, and we'd love to hear your thoughts on what it takes to build. So that's something that I got that's a social media lead. They've reached out to me because they've seen our stuff. I absolutely love it. Like to me, I couldn't be happier that it's actually working. But it's taken a good year for us to, like, these leads are just starting to come in now. So it's a lot of work to do it. But just for anybody else out there, all your social media helps you out with every other part of your business. I was on a listening presentation last week. I didn't have to, I said, normally I go through my YouTube videos and show you guys a whole bunch of stuff. And they just shrugged it off. They said, we've already seen that stuff. That's one of the reasons why we had you out here. I didn't have to do my presentation. We just signed the contract right there. So what social media does, if anything, it gets me in the door. If somebody doesn't like me, and they don't want to work with me, that's fine. But they've given me the interview, which is all you can really ask for, right? So for me, that's the way I look at it. And just another thing, I sold a house last year on a Facebook Live video from an open house. I showed the shop. I didn't even show the house. I'm just going to show one of my favorite features of this property, and that's the shop. The wife sent her husband down, and then they offered on it 2 days later. So anyways, I think when you're doing stuff like that, people see you're actually working, and it's not just a matter of people like a lot of agents will downplay it. They'll say, well, big deal, you just press the live button on your phone, and then you shoot a video, and that anybody can do that, right? But they're not doing it, right? So I think that a lot of our buyers, prospective buyers and members of the public see that more often than people think. And it's important to stay steady with your social media stream, right? It's really nice when someone comes in the door and says like, oh, my son follows you and he seems to think you do X amount of deals a year. They're more familiar with you. They're more familiar with your production. So I think that anybody that's not engaging in active social media right now at this point is really missing out.
Well, I have to say, I rarely hear stories like that about Instagram. I hear more stories or more comments from your peers about why should I do Instagram, but that's one of the few exceptions, which goes to show you it really does work. You actually had someone that followed you, that recognized you. That was your audition for them, really, if you think about it. And look what it did. It paid off for you. That's awesome. So Bobby, how did you first start learning video? What were some of the steps you took? Tell us about maybe some funny stories where there were some big misses on video, because I'm sure there's some of those bloopers.
So if you ask my buddies from like college or university, I was never the big social media person. I never was. So when I got into real estate, like I said, I saw Jesse Peters speak at Recharge back in 2017. Light bulb went off. I'm like, okay, I really got to dive into this social media. So I would start doing videos. My wife would shoot them for me on my cell phone camera. I mean, that's how it started. And it was really, got to start somewhere, and you're not going to be perfect. You're going to get better. Like, this is my first webinar, and you're a little nervous with anything, but the more you do something, the better you get. And like Tyler mentioned, I mean, videos went from just shooting an open house to doing lives to now doing listing videos for my clients, no matter the price point. And you just build up enough of a database of videos that you could then send potential. I had someone last week who reached out, they wanted to sell their home. Said, all right, Mr. Seller, I'm going to email you 2 listing videos I shot recently for past clients. Emailed them to them. I went on the RE/MAX Hustle site, the coming soon commercial that you can do for a house. Swung by the house, took an outdoor picture. The morning of the listing appointment, dear Mr. and Mrs. Seller, just put together a quick coming soon commercial for you. Hope you like it.
Love it.
And they didn't. I walked in the door, and like Tyler said, no presentation needed. Got the listing just off of my listing videos and social media use. They went to my page. Anytime I talk to a buyer or a seller, I say, hey, check out my Instagram page, RI Home Store. Take a look at what I do for clients. I've gotten multiple buyers off Instagram. And then I had one buyer, $150,000 buyer, not a huge price point, but helped him close. His brother purchased $370,000. His boss, $400,000. So it just shows the power of social media. Like Tyler says, just start doing it, be committed to it, post good content, and the results will come. It's not going to happen overnight. It takes time. Like, it's taken me like years to really get this running the way I want it. But like he said, the best feeling is when you get a lead off social media. It's the coolest feeling in the world, because you created it.
That sounds great. I love it. So it looks like we have some questions coming in because, yeah, you've got to start somewhere. Sounds like there's some interest here in your scripts. So Greg is asking, Greg is from Milwaukee. Hey, Greg, how do you handle the commission objection? What is your favorite script around that topic? So we'll start with you, Tyler.
Okay, so for me, with the commission objection, I kind of, like, our marketplace, we have a range of people with commission. So like I charge 5%. We have people charging 4.5%, 4%, 3.5%. And then we've got Purple Bricks and we have a Property Guys website here. So we have a few different things. To me, I set the tone in the meeting when I talk about commission. I just let them know. I say, you know, I'm not trying to be cheeky, guys, but if you're looking for a real estate agent that's the cheapest commission, I just want to tell you right now, I can guarantee it's not going to be me. I do have, when I go through my presentation, it's a long digital presentation. Okay. I can share it with you. Okay. If you're not in my marketplace, I'm just kidding. But if you'd like, I have no problem doing that. But after I go through the presentation, it's important that they realize how much agents actually do for them. And then very rarely do I actually get someone that's like, would you do it for 4? Would you do it for 4.5? So like, to me, I'm always, like I'll like, the best part about the objections is your pre-qualifying questions. So if you're on the phone with Mr. and Mrs. Seller and you say, are you interviewing any other agents? Yes. If you can get the names of them, great, because then you know their commission structure. Are you thinking about, have you ever thought about selling privately? A lot of people are afraid to ask that question. Ask that question. You'll be surprised, because then they'll say like, oh no, I'm not interested in that. I had a friend of mine do that. Or, maybe we are. And then during your meeting, you can go through the objections about selling privately. You get what you pay for. They simply just post it on MLS. 80 to 90% of our views come in from our social media, right? So we always like to say that, and the people that are going to realtor.ca see our views on social media first. So I'll explain a lot about that, and then I'll tell them, you don't really want to put your hard-earned equity in the hands of a discount broker, because you get what they pay for. They don't care about your top dollar. They don't care about days on market. All they care about is getting that listing, getting that flat fee, and then selling it as quick as they can. So like for less money. So that's kind of my take on it. But I think for you, who was it, Greg or Greg?
Mm-hmm.
Greg, the qualifying questions is where it's at. Like, don't be afraid to ask people what they think their house is worth. A lot of people don't ask that either. Then at least if they think it's worth, $800,000 and it's worth $600,000, you're going to at least know how to approach the situation, right? If they think it's worth less, that's awesome, because you'll go in there and looking like you're all world. So anyways, that's, to me, I can send you my scripts, how I change them if you'd like. Just put your email down. But there's only, I only have, maybe 5 that I kind of repeat and repeat and repeat. And then I get the other agents in the office to do the same.
Sounds good. Yes, definitely one of the biggest misconceptions by the general public is that you get all 5% and that's it. And you just run away free and clear with all of that. So they don't understand. Bobby, how do you handle the commission objection?
Well, similar to Tyler, we're anywhere from 5 to 6%. Some people do 4, of course, that try to lowball, but the way I try to explain to my clients is, look, this is what we're doing for you. We're not just taking photos. We're doing video. We're doing Facebook ads. We're doing Instagram ads. We're showcasing your property. Our goal as a listing agent is to get as many eyeballs on your property as possible. I don't need to go find a buyer. That's not my goal as a listing agent. It's to market your property to the best of its ability. That's what it deserves in this market. In today's world, that's what your home deserves. So that's the pitch I use to try and get that 5-6% listing price. And like Tyler said, I think that he's right on. I always ask the clients, what do you think your home is worth? Because if they're way out there, you're going to have a tough one on your hands, and trying to find a middle ground of, what do you think we could sell it for? But as for commission goes, I stick kind of, to like a 5%, where, look, this is why I'm worth it. I'm not a discount realtor. I'm not, this is a career. This is what we do day in, day out. And we're not you want someone who's going to lowball and help you get 4%, great. they're going to cut corners. We're not cutting corners here, at RE/MAX. We're highlighting your property on every social media platform, and that's the angle I take on it, highlighting what we're going to do to market the properry.
Excellent.
Can I just say one thing on that?
Sure.
That when you're doing that, I mean, I think I'm going to touch on Bobby's. It's the confidence going in there. But like for me, I didn't have like for anybody out there, like I worked on a listing presentation, okay, and it was like 2 years. Like it took me, anyways, because it had to be perfect. And then eventually, I had my coach who said, just scrap all that and then focus on what you really want to deal with. So like that's what happened. I've really only had a solid listing presentation for probably, I don't know, 11 months now. That I actually can stand behind, and I get in there and I have my little laser pointer, and you know what I mean. And I'm like, okay, this is what we do. And if I think they know all it, if they don't need staging, I can click through that really quickly. And then, but by the time I'm done the presentation, and then I get to the commission, and this is what the commission is. Very rarely do you get people that are like, holy, okay, would you do it for 3.5? Because they see all the work you put into it. But I think if you guys take time to actually work on your listing presentation, it'll give you so much more confidence going in there, because the majority of agents out there, and I know from experience, don't really have a serious listing presentation.
Mm-hmm.
That is sound advice. Thank you. Loving all these comments and engagement. Just so you know, so Tyler and Bobby, anything they have to share with all of you, they can send to me and I will send out to all of you. So Tyler, please send your scripts to me. I love scripts. It's one thing to have scripts, but to be scripted is another thing. So that's not what we're not promoting that you do that. You're going to find your way, right? Bobby said it best. He's like, I got the scripts and I just figured it out, made it my own style. But
yeah.
Great sharing. I really appreciate that. So let me just take a quick glance. Last minute call or last call for questions right now. Okay, yes. So someone's asking for your listing presentation as well. Someone from Duluth, Minnesota. Hello, Duluth, Minnesota. Let's see. You're getting a lot of shout outs. Thank you for sharing. All right, absolutely. So yeah, we will send this out. If you're registered on Zoom, which you all are right now that are commenting, I will send that out as soon as I get those from Tyler. We'll send those out later today. Let's see. So yes, Elke's asking about videos. You mentioned something about RE/MAX Hustle. So yeah, Bobby, you did videos on RE/MAX Hustle, right?
Yeah, so if you go to the Max Center and the RE/MAX Hustle app, you click on that. They have the commercials. They have a listing. I think it's a coming soon listing commercial. It's like 25 seconds and it's great. You type in all your information. So like Bobby Bohlen, realtor, my information, and you can upload 3 photos. So what I like to do is when I, say I'm going to 23 Main Street, I'm going to do a quick drive-by, snap a couple photos on my phone, upload them into this commercial, and you send it to the client in an email. They're like, they think you just put this together. Meanwhile, RE/MAX has all this available to us. Just utilize it. And before you walk in the door, it's like, dear Mr. and Mrs. Seller, hey, here's a quick coming soon ad I put together for your property. Hope you like it. And I'll tell you, but probably less than 1% of people do this before walking into a listing appointment, just showing the level of service that you're going to give, that you're savvy with technology, and that RE/MAX, we have it available. Lean on the brand of RE/MAX. It's huge. And so it's right there, the RE/MAX Hustle app on the Max Center.
Thank you so very much. Before we wrap up, I just want to ask you, sorry about the background noise here. I wanted to ask you both, is there anyone outside of real estate that you admire and follow, and why? Tyler, we'll start with you.
Man. It's hard because like everything.
Cranston or
what's that? It's
Richard Branson or anything?
Well, I mean, it's hard because like everything I do is you guys know it out there. This business is like consuming. I mentioned Tom Bilyeu before, but like to me, I don't know. Like I'm so real estate focused. There's not many. I've been selling now for 11 years. I'd like to give a shout out to some of the older agents out there who have been doing this business for 20, 30, 40 years, just because I know how difficult it is. But yeah, other than that, there's not, I can't, like, just off topic, I couldn't really find one for you. But I do want to say, oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Tyler.
I just want to say, because I know we're hitting on 11, like just in closing, we want to talk about the brand. And like, I think what, you know, you mentioned Adam Contos earlier. I want to just give a shout out to Chris Alexander. I think the guy has done great stuff in the last little while. And I think he's really, really helped this brand along, especially with the new technical age. But for you guys out there in terms of RE/MAX and how I view RE/MAX, I view RE/MAX as a premium brand. So like when I'm doing stuff, I'm thinking about how I'm going to orchestrate my business and add, you know, I want to add something to my presentation, or I want to add something to my listing package. I want to make sure that it's adding value. And for me, I always want to make sure that I feel like I'm the best. Like I wouldn't go in there if I didn't feel like I was the best agent for the job. I think that everybody should feel that way. And RE/MAX agents especially should be doing that. They unequivocally should be doing training, and they should be the best. There's a lot of shitty agents out there that get a ton of business, and I'm always like baffled how they get it. I'm sure you guys are, but a lot of that has to do with consistency, training, and then leaning on your peers for some help.
There's construction going on here. I live in a high rise. Sorry, Bobby. Do you follow anyone outside of real estate?
I do. I follow a bunch of, like, you know, I read Shoe Dog, Phil Knight's story about Nike. I thought was incredible. You know, a guy who loved running and built a business on just what he loved. And I think that's something motivating that we could all take. You know, if you love what you do, like your business and the money will follow. I thought Warren Buffett, another successful guy, a guy who went to New York, wasn't for him, went back to Omaha, Nebraska, and he was comfortable in his own skin and built a great business. I like reading Susie Orman as well, personal development. So I follow, a lot of different people. I like to see motivating people that truly love what they do. And if you just they believe in themselves and what their idea is, and the success will follow and the money will follow. But yeah, I'm a big fan of a ton of other businesses.
Love it, love it. I'm a big fan of entrepreneur.com and Entrepreneur Magazine. So if you don't follow or watch, they have a lot of free webinars and content on there. These are other small business owners. These are entrepreneurs like yourselves. So I would highly recommend a lot of good content there. So let's bring this home. Thanks for staying with us a little bit over the hour. What are some final words of advice on how to get better and to keep learning and being awesome in this business? Tyler, we'll start with you.
I think I kind of did that on my last rant, but but as I said, I think you should just continue to learn and continue to get better. But I think a lot of the time, like my father's been selling real estate since '79. He's 72 years old right now. And one of his biggest things is that you know, as much as you can, you know, you make money, you can do a number of deals and you can increase your business, it's still always about the client. And I think that that's important for a lot of people, because there's a big misconceptions about real estate agents that it's all money, money, money. We should care about who we're serving. And I honestly believe that. And you know, I'll take that from him, is that's exactly how we should feel when we're working with our clients.
Thank you so much. Bobby, how about you?
Yeah, no, I just tell everyone, don't be afraid to learn. Don't be afraid to take chances. It's okay to be uncomfortable. Get uncomfortable to become comfortable. You know, that's big with video. Nobody is great at video when they first start. Maybe, you know, some people might be. I surely wasn't. I still am not perfect at it. But doing stuff like that will help you grow. Lean into RE/MAX, all the resources that we have available. The great support staff. Like Tyler said, it's at the end of the day, it's about the clients and building relationships and doing what's best for them. But each and every day, I tell myself I have zero. I start with zero every single day, which we all do as realtors. We're not getting a salary. So try to take positive steps each day, one step forward. And when you're going to look back at the end of the year, if you take a lot of steps forward each and every day, you're going to wake up and be like, wow, my business, you know, it's growing. It's going in the right direction. So just brick by brick and stay positive and confident in yourself.
Thank you so much. I'm going to wrap this up because there's guys on a scaffold right in front of me here. So thank you so much, Bobby and Tyler. You guys were amazing. And all of you, you're going to get this recording and the scripts and the items that you were asked for, or that you Or promised, I should say, later on today. So we will be back same place, same time next week. Thank you, RE/MAX INTEGRA US and Canada, and our friends in the company-owned regions. Have a good day.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching.